Alright, so this is just a very real video, just stream of consciousness, just sitting having a cup of coffee, and hopefully you'll gain something from this. I think you will. Certainly there's plenty I would gain from you if you sat and told me some of your greatest ways of being and whatnot. But okay, so I am a musician. I also do the 9 to 5 thing and the landlord thing, and so I see a lot of musicians that apparently work full-time being musicians, and on some level I'm like, oh, that would be great, that's super cool. But some of the greatest teachers, at least one of the greatest teachers I've had anytime recently, he was like, man, don't quit your day job, like, until you're like totally earning a full-time salary or whatever for music, I wouldn't quit the day job. So that's from his own mouth. Like, if it was really that cool, why the hell would he say that? So it is cool to be a full-time musician, and I like to play, like, what, 3 gigs a week. I'd love to earn over like $100 playing like over 3 gigs a week. But even if I did that, that's only $300 a week. That's like $1,200. That's like rent a month. That's not thriving, you know what I mean? So life is really big and music is really big, but music's only part of life. So I kind of base my life a lot around books such as, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and, I like John Gray's books. He's the guy that wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, just about how relationships work and how they take work, and they're not easy all the time, and love is a verb and things like that. Like, so I guess the grand scheme of this video is just to say that, there's more than just music. You sit down to practice your music hopefully every day, and you hopefully love it. Sometimes it might feel like you're going through the motions, and you wonder, like, sometimes I wonder, like, why am I even doing all this extra stuff? Why am I going through the major scale and playing all the sixths? Like, why am I playing, how you got C, D, E, F, G, A, B in the C major scale? Why am I playing all those chords? They're sixth chords. Why do I need to memorize this? When am I really going to play a bunch of sixths? But you do, like, whatever you shed, like, daily, especially whatever you shed, like, for like 30 minutes at a time, I consider that kind of like you're downloading that concept, and it does tend to come out in your improv that week or that month or whatever. And if it's a daily ritual where you're playing it even through once, like if you cycle through the C major scale and play all the tonic notes and the thirds and the sixths, for example, if you do that once a day, you could look at it that way, where you're done in like, what, 2 minutes, but it's something that you do every day, but you just got to remember to do it every day. Or you could really sit down with it and say you have a list of things, like, the sixth chords in the diatonic major scales of whatever, like, okay, D major scale, what are the diatonic chords and what are the chords playing the sixths? And then, for example, you could just have like 6 chords on this huge, list of concepts to be cycling through regularly or daily or once a month. Maybe you check that off once a month or something. So at any rate, I do sometimes wonder, like, why don't I just focus just on, playing metal or something and just being a metal band? But I guess that was my younger self thinking that, and I've played in bands, and you never get paid much. You're just playing in your own original band, whatever. So my story was, I ended up living in Japan in the 2000s, and I put like $8,000 on a CD, and it was like, I thought it was going to be so cool, and that's when I realized maybe it's not so cool if I try to be this famous musician that's like a punk rock musician. Maybe it's cooler if I just be a good all-around musician. So that's kind of the paradigm I'm coming at now, is like on drums, on guitar, and even on bass if I have to, but at least on drums and guitar, just being able to play any genre, keep time, know quite a bit of variations, but at least you know the basic variations of each genre, and you're sharp on those things. But yeah, it does make you wonder, like when you see certain players and they're so good at certain concepts, like were they just meant to be good at that concept, or are they just spending so much time on that way of playing because it feels good to them? It's interesting how to look at music, and how do people look at their practice, because I know when I moved to North Carolina, Asheville, I started noticing really good players, but they didn't play like I did. Like coming from Florida, where I was playing more like, rock or more Foo Fighters, pop punk type stuff, but also some jazz. But yeah, I started noticing these good players here, and I'm like, wow, are they all learning from the same people? And those people are just like funk and jazz cats or whatever. But I guess the main thing is that you practice, that you want to get good at music, and then put in the time every day, and kind of go beast mode on it if you can. Why not? Someday you'll be like an old person, and you'll say, did I really get the most out of life? Did I put in what I need to and all that? So I think you should go the extra mile. I think that's a principle of life, which kind of segues back to other books that I really have based my life on, such as Think and Grow Rich, and the concept that, if you always go the extra mile, that's always the way to be, because the law of the harvest is you plant a bunch of seeds and you put forth the work first, and then you reap the seeds. So if you're always going the extra mile and you're always planting seeds, that's always going to be a good thing. And yeah, so that being said, I just got back from vacation, so I'm sitting down to play guitar. So what is it that I'm thinking, in case you care? It's, okay, get a solid like hour in, push the limit. Don't just get like 20 minutes a day or today, get like a solid hour in, and then kind of think from there. Do I want to switch to drums for like an hour? I want to at least get an hour of drums. But do I want to do more on the guitar than an hour? And then kind of what is the most beneficial way to practice according to my goals. So I've been wanting to book a lot of kind of solo jazz guitar gigs here in Nashville, so I'm going to focus in on just running jazz standards. So like I've got this, it's actually a Japanese real book, because when I was in Japan, these dudes were like, yeah, you got to get the Japanese one too. So it's, who's it by? It's by some dude. No, it's by Shingo Ito. And it's just jazz standards. So the handbook of jazz standards, and by Shingo Ito. So it's got, a lot of songs that the basic real book doesn't have in it. But I know there's several real books. But at any rate, that's what I'm going to focus on today, is running through these standards. And I guess what I'll do is when I'm going through a standard that I kind of know, or I don't even know at all, I'll just put the metronome on and I'll go through each chord just playing the root note. And I'll do that for a while until I kind of get an idea of what the skeleton is of the song. Then I'll challenge myself to go through and either play the root note, like 1, 2, and then the third for the beat 3 and 4, like 1, 2, third degree, 3, 4. So let's say you're on an F major 7, and you go for beats 1 and 2, you're F, 2, and then A for 3 and 4. So you're playing the first and the third degree. And you go through all the chords like that, playing the first and the third degree. Or perhaps you just play the third degree as you're going through this song with the metronome. And then after you do that a while, just play just the 5th degree, or play just the 7th degree, or do 1, 3, 5, 7 for beats 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe you do 7, 5, 3, 1 for beats 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just this huge math thing, really, as one approach. Or you could be a one-trick pony and you just play the song a certain way and that's all. But like, as you're doing all these combinations, there's only so many jazz standards and only so many different chord change combinations. You'll inevitably use them in other songs. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing today. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.